You're listening to the AI Moment, the AI podcast for business leaders in bite-sized pieces. I'm your host, Jonathan Wagstaffe, and my co-host is Danny Denhard. Hi, Danny.
Hey, Jonathan. Today, we're going to dive into the world of AI and sales. It sounds quite broad, but there's some really interesting and innovative things that happen in the space. Today, you're going to dive into the world of AI and sales. So do you want to take it away for everyone?
This is a set of conversations I've had with salespeople, both in small to medium business and in enterprise businesses this summer. And what's been a surprise to me is I think there's a lack of understanding, even amongst the guys who are using AI in their personal life, and they're doing things there in their personal life. Some of those people are using it for content, particularly email creation, but not much beyond that. And I think there's two or three, that we can talk all day about this stuff, but there's two or three kind of low hanging fruit that I think some of our sales teams are missing and could really help. So the first one that springs to mind is research and prospecting using AI. So how can we get smarter about our prospecting? How can we understand accounts better? How can we build smarter targeting lists? How can we spot buying triggers? And I think there's a number of things we can do there. The first thing we can do, if we know what our ideal customer profile is, or we've done work on personas, we know who we're targeting, we can take that information, and we can even take information from our CRM if we've got one and say, here are our last 50 wins. Take those organizations. We can feed that into the AI and we can say, go find us more people like that. Maybe we take the websites of those organizations, say, go and look at these websites, come back and give us some commonality that you see around these things. Are they all certain types of company? Have they all got certain problems? Are they all certain size? What can we do to start to draw the patterns, if you like, from the people we've won from? How do we find more people like that? And then you can actually ask the AI to say, look at our website and tell us why they'd want to deal with us and tell us what questions they might have of us. So you can do a lot of stuff there. And then you can put LinkedIn on top of that and say, right, go find me the right executives in these organizations. Go look at their profiles and tell me what they might want to talk about when they're talking to us. There's an awful lot of stuff we can do there in the research and prospecting field to move things forward quite quickly. And we're now starting to see, LinkedIn are building some of this capability in. People like HubSpot are building this sort of capability. And so you're starting to be able to go to LinkedIn and say, go and find me people like this. It's a trick that quite a few salespeople are missing. And I think it's a really quite easy thing to do. So that's number one. I'll do another one, Dan, and then maybe ask you for your action on the two. It's a really good tool for helping you prepare for sales calls as well, either video calls, phone calls, or in-person meetings. So you can take notes you made from previous meetings. So you can take all of the sorts of communications you've had. You can take emails you've received from the prospect. You can take notes you've made about the prospect. You can put a link to their website. You can dump that together. And then you can say, can you create for me a call plan? Can you create for me some subjects to talk about based on their interactions so far and what you can see about the company? Can you tell me where the value proposition might be that they'd be interested in? What can we do from that point of view? So you have the AI help you prepare for the call, help you structure the call, help you maybe understand what objections they might have before you get there, even what things might they want to talk about from an objection point of view. So those two areas, one is prospecting and identifying possible targets. And secondly, preparing for those first calls and those first meetings. AI's got a lot of things to help with there. Any thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, I love those examples. In one of my coachings this week, the CEO who I coach came up with and said how proud he was of the team for automating a lot of these. Both actually came up in the breakdown. So I personally love that fact. I'd say that one trick that I think people do miss is asking AI, what have we missed or what haven't we included? So of all the notes and all of the insights, what have we missed, or what are the most critical parts that we've not identified, or will be something that I would call out and say is essential for the use of AI in sales. What's your third one, Jonathan?
So I think the next one I'd look at is if we can use AI to review calls. So if we've got, say, a Zoom or Teams call and we record that call, then there's a bunch of things that happen. One is it allows you to be present in the meeting. If you're recording the call, it allows you to be fully present in the meeting because you're not having to stop to make notes all the time like we all used to have to do. Second thing is it quite often these tools now will give you an AI summary of the main points discussed. But if you've got a recording, you can feed that into your favorite AI tool and get it to do more detailed analysis. So we can say, you know, let's have all the insights, give me all the actions. But you can also start to do things like say, could you generate me an auto ready to email report of that meeting? So I can just copy that into an email, send it straight to the customer. And you can even go further. You can ask it to coach you. So you can say to it, right, you've heard the way I dealt with that sales call. Give me some feedback. Did I talk too much? Did I not ask the right questions? There's all sorts of things that it'll do with those call recordings to help you become a better salesperson. So not only present in the meeting, but also good analysis, good actions, good insights, and also some coaching if you want it.
Yeah, I love that example. It's something that I think if you want to be at the top level of what you're trying to achieve as a business, your sales team should be the ones kicking down the door asking for more budget for AI tools, especially when it comes to the reviews and the analysis piece. I've seen quite a few tools out there at the moment that will record all of the meeting. They'll collate all of the most important actions and meetings, and they'll actually clip it almost like a social post. So you can go in when someone doesn't quite remember, there's almost timestamps for you to click on to double down and go into that. So I think that's great. I love the example where people can go in and can be held accountable as well, because we all know sales aren't always the best at updating software and tools and actually not having it in their notepad. They can actually have it in a one safe space where everyone can see there and hold them accountable to it.
And actually, Dan, you bring me beautifully onto the next point. You know, what's the greatest, you know, with every sales guy I've ever met, including me, filling in the CRM is a pain. Well, again, you can use AI to do this. You can say to it, okay, here are my notes. I want you to produce the following data. You know, what's the deal stage? What's the amount? What's the next step? Who are the contacts? You know, you can set the AI up to fill in the CRM for you. So it just drops it all in for you and saves you all that painful CRM stuff that I've never met a salesperson yet who likes filling in the CRM, but we all have to do it to go forward. And the last one for today, I think is, and I do this a lot. It's really great taking a load of kind of brain dump notes and turning them into something coherent. You've got some ideas around an account, how you're going to take it forward. You can kind of be on a walk or something with your dog and you just brain dump all that stuff. I use the voice recorder on my iPhone. I just brain dump into it. And then I copy that transcript into the AI and say, can you make sense of this? And it will quite often organize the stuff very, very well for you into a number of headings. And so it's very good for that. A couple of guardrails. I think number one is, you know, anything we're doing with customer data, you've got to own it. The person has to be the person that owns the data at the end of the day. So it's up to us to check that what it's said is right and true and not been hallucinated. So that's one thing I would say, caveat everybody on, is that you own it. And the second thing is obviously, let's be clear about where the data is and how sensitive the data is. So we don't want to be pasting lots and lots of sensitive data into the AI unless we've got our security set up properly that we're comfortable to do that. So there are a couple of things that I would say are guardrails, if you like.
Yeah, and if I could just add one more, if you clearly state, almost like you would in an interview, what's on record, off record, and on background, there's certain things that AI will record and won't log. So there are different ways you can say, do not include this in the summary or meeting notes, and that will keep everyone privacy sane. To summarize today, Jonathan, the great examples you use where you can use AI in sales for research and prospecting. It's a great tool for sales prep and different levels of calls, whether that's video or on the phone. There are call reviews and meeting reviews that it'll pump it into AI tool. It'll do a lot of analysis and it'll pull back the insights and actions and the agreed next steps for everyone. And then if we were just to summarize really quickly, just remember that, as we've always said, you just need to double check and do a sanity check. So the guardrails we recommended today were data ownership, understand where it's stored, and just make sure that what you're sending over is accurate, as opposed to there may be some hallucinations, but all the tools are getting much better at this. Is that a good summary, Jonathan?
That's a good summary, Dan. I like that.
Great. Jonathan, thanks a lot for today and all of your insights in 8.5 minutes.
Thanks, Dan.
Great. And I'll see you next time, Jonathan.
I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening today, everyone. If you'd like to check out the show notes and you'd like to get in touch, we leave all of the contact information in there. We also have a number of different links to the tools and any of the main takeaways we provide. That also goes into our newsletter that we share, and that's aimoment.co.uk. Remember, you can always hit follow or subscribe in your favourite podcast player. And Jonathan and I will see you next time.
Take care, Dan. I'll see you next time.